Hi guys, welcome back. Right, this is the last one for today. What I've done is I've already painted the sky in, but before I did that, I masked off a hill type, so it's supposed to represent the hill, with some broad masking tape. So what I did was I defluffed it on my jumper, which I'll show you when we come to doing a landscape. So I put that on just to protect this part here. Now then, the sky's been done, so now we're going to work on this bit here. And what I'm going to show you how to do with the credit card now is we're going to do a tree, or what it's going to be is a woodland with some fading away into the distance down the hill. And then with the use of a credit card, we're going to make this massive paint look like massive trees. Okay? There are other ways again. You can use sponges. There's lots of different ways of making a woodland scene. And this is just one of them. So I'm going to be using a special brush today, but you can still do this if you've got an old round brush. If you're splaying, as long as it's an old one and it's not a brand new one with a decent point on it. So you can actually use one of those as well. There are other brands out there of brushes that you can use. This texture brushes, or tree brushes as they're called. The one I'm using today is a Matthew Palmer texture and tree brush. They come in different sizes, so I like this one because it's the big one. And so if I'm doing a big landscape, I can get some really nice looking trees. But I don't just use Matthew Palmer brush, I use other brushes as well to get a very similar effect. Okay, so we're just going to start today. So what I'm going to do is I've got some colours here. I've got lemon yellow to start with, and then I've got a mixture there of Aureolin yellow with some cobalt blue to get a nice fresh green. And then we've got this very dark green, which is made up of the Viridian, the French Ultramarine and Burnt Sienna. Now you must put plenty of Burnt Sienna in it, otherwise it's just going to look a turquoisey green, which is not what we want. Okay, and then I've got a slightly darker green in my palette here, which is the French Ultramarine and Aureolin again. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the lightest colour. Now these paints need to be fairly thick if you're using one of these brushes. Now the beauty with these brushes they are squirrel hair, so they're natural hair. And the one of a few brushes, I wouldn't recommend you do this with any other brushes, but with this one you can actually, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get all of the hairs coated with some paint. Okay, and then what we do is we tap it onto the paper, like so, all the way up there. Now as we're coming down, this piece here needs to be fair, this will be a little denser because we're doing a woodland. So as you come out towards the sky, it gets a little bit lighter, so you don't need to be tapping as hard. And then obviously you come down this middle bit here, and down the edge, you can tap a bit harder. Now I've got another size of the same type of brush, and what I'm going to do is very little water on it. You work with these brushes near enough dry. Okay, so once again, cover as much as I can with the paint, and then I'm just going to make this woodland fade down there a little bit with a smaller brush. Okay, tap a bit more up there. Okay, the idea is to keep this paint wet and flowing, but it's quite strong paint. Now I'm not even going to clean this brush out. I'm just going to go straight into the other colour, which is this green here. Again, I'm going to coat the brush. So I've not rinsed the brush out or anything, and it's fairly dry. I mean, there is bone dry. Okay, so it was only damp when we started. And then I'm just going to re-tap where we've just been. Now you will start to see the magic of this brush. So as you come out towards the edges, just tap lightly. Okay, like that. And then as we come back down here, you can tap a bit harder because it's going to be a lot denser. And we need this paint to be here because we need to move it. Okay, so that's the next colour on. Okay, so now I'm just going to go for a bit darker colour. Again, I'm going to really get this brush coated. I might even need to put in a little bit more of the blue there. Okay, so again, I haven't rinsed the brush or anything. I'm just picking it up. So this will be a little bit darker still. And make sure you're not going in a uniform straight line because trees don't work that way. They go all directions. Okay. now we're just putting on another colour. So you can see, you're getting the idea of a mass of trees here, okay? And you've still got bits of the sky coming through. Now then, I'm just going to, the brush is getting a little bit dry, so just touch the corner with the water, that's all. The rest of it's dry. Now I'm going into this, the darker colour. So I might need to add, using the brush, I'm going to add a bit more of the ultramarine blue and the burnt sienna. Okay, just so I can get this, the darker woodland look. So this will be like the base of the woodland. Tap it again to get a nice. Okay. And gently as you go out to the outside, but it's mainly going to be on this inside area here. Okay, and then down here, right across the tape, the bottom of the tape. Get lighter as you come up the top. Okay. A bit lighter there. Now then, that's the paint. So I'm just going to leave the brush there for a moment because we need to get on. So what I'm going to do now with this is, this where the round corner is there, this is the bit that's going to create the effect that we want. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make this look like it's some woodland. So it's not just one tree, there's several trees in there. So what I'm going to do is, using this corner here, but put some pressure on there, you can see the card that it bends. And then all I'm going to do is I'm putting pressure on it and pulling it, not in a complete straight line, it wants to bend a little bit. And then as I come further up, I'm just lifting the pressure off. So there is, we've got a bark of a tree. Now, if the paint was too wet, when we moved it away, it all flushed back in there and you'd end up with a dark piece. So it's not, it's got to be done just at the right time. Okay, so there's another one just coming up there. And then we'll do another one. And try and get out, I mean, this will have dried probably by now, but if you can just make some of the branches splay out as much as you can towards the edge, and it will just give the effect. And then in between, just put up a few, just pull up a few bits, because like I say, this is a woodland, so there's going to be lots of trees in there. And then obviously as you're coming down here, they get a little bit thinner. And then here, just putting little, and then from here, if you want, what you do is I'm just making lighter pieces. There you go, a little bit thinner, and just getting some more branches coming off. Now this, you can, as long as this paint is movable, you can do this, you can get carried away with it. But just get as many branches in as you can. Like that, there we go. So up. And then, as you can see, once the paint starts to dry, it gets a little bit more difficult. As long as you get some of them in there. Okay, so I'm just going to let that dry. And then we're going to remove the tape. So if you come back in a minute, and then we'll finish off quickly. Okay, thank you. Hello, welcome back. Right, it's dried, and I've carefully, like I've explained before, pull the tape gently away from the painting. If it sticks at any place at all, just put a hairdryer behind it and it will release the tack behind it. So I've just now taken off the masking tape. So now you can see we've got a nice flat horizon there. And as you can see, we have got some now that looks like a dense forest or dense woodland. So we've got a nice light sky there. So the sky, you do all the sky first, and then obviously where there are little specks through, you can still see the sky there. Okay, so just to finish this little piece off, we've got a hillside. So I'm just going to use the greens that we've got. I'm just using number 12 round brush. So I'm going to put on, I'm going to put a little bit of the sort of Start with a lemon yellow at the top and try and leave just a thin line between so that you can see that it's the hillside. And then all I'm doing is cleaning the brush, wiping the excess off and pulling this paint down. There we go. Again, keep cleaning, pulling the paint down so it's getting lighter as it comes down. Okay, and then I'm just going to introduce a bit of a darker green up here. So that should nicely blend in. There we go. So these are the same greens that we've used on the trees, okay? Do them so it's coming down, there we go. Again, clean your brush, and then if you put some of the darker pieces in at the front, so the foreground, there we go. And then just to literally finish it off, I'm just going to get a smaller round brush. Use some of the dark colour that we used on the rocks earlier. I'm just going to put in, you probably won't see these, but I'm just going to put in a fence, fades down there, comes up here a little bit. And then here, I'm just going to put the gateway. Put that there. And some more fence posts there, and just some wire across there. You probably won't see that very well, but it just adds a little bit of feature in there. Okay, so if you have a look, oops, a bit of water on there from the sky. There we go, you've got the basics of a small landscape, but you've got a woodland there, and all you've done is use a special brush, or you could just a normal round brush, stipple. So it's a stippling motion. Usually I would say a light tone, dark, medium tone and a dark tone of greens. You could use autumn colours if it's an autumn. So you can change the seasons on this, and then just use a credit card just to pull out the paint, pull the paint out just to create the effect or the illusion of forest land and different trees in there. But it is very effective. Okay, that's the last one for today. And thank you very much for watching, and I hope you get some tips out of here. All right, thank you very much. Bye.